Mic check 1 2. It's the Y2K collector, and video game hunting isn't fair. It hasn't been fair for a number of months now. And the reason why I'm saying this is because I used to be able to kind of plot out how I was going to do my video game hunting, meaning I had an idea of where I would be able to go, which thrift stores I could go to, which pawn shops I could go to, which, areas might be having a yard sale, even though in my part of the earth, they're few and far between. I at least had some type of structure. It seemed like there was some type of balance to the game, no pun intended, to where I had an idea of where I could go to get good deals. But hunting now in 2025 just is not fair at all. And I don't typically do this often, but every once in a while, I'll go to Facebook Marketplace and say, okay, you know what? I know there's nothing at my local thrift store. I know there's nothing at my local mom and pop shops, but maybe there's something on Facebook Marketplace, right? And so that's what I went ahead and did today. And I went into Facebook Marketplace and I just put in video games, just random, very broad search, video games. And what immediately popped up were not just like individual games, but some really solid lots, like lots of Super Nintendo games and Sega Genesis games for like $150. I saw lots of Sega CD games and Dreamcast games for, $200. And these were like really good lots at really good deals. I even saw some individual games priced really well. And there were just a lot of options. And a lot of these postings were recent. They had just gone up within the last 24 hours. So I got kind of excited. And just as I'm getting ready to, click on one of these links to see if I can reach out to the seller, I realized that these listings were literally on the absolute other side of the continent, right? So I realized these were on the complete opposite coast, from where I'm at, over 4,000 miles away. And I was immediately returned back to reality because once I realized what zip code I was looking at, I went in and put in a zip code closer to home. And what I found were more solicitations for video games than offers for video games. What I wound up seeing were more advertisements of people asking to buy video games. And it was just like a very solemn reminder of how different the markets are across the country. You have certain parts of the country where you can't, you can't give retro games away because there's just so many retro games. You have parts of the country where there is so much competition that instead of people utilizing the marketplace to advertise games for sale, they're leveraging the marketplace to let all the sellers know that they want to buy their games. And, it just kind of was a reminder to me of, one, how challenging video game hunting can be these days, and two, how unfair it is. Sometimes we look to YouTube a lot. Like if you are on YouTube and if you, watch game hunting videos, or you watch, if you're a physical collector and you watch videos about physical collecting, you might, see a video where someone picked up a bunch of stuff and be like, man, I never find that. Or you might get excited and think, I can go to my neck of the woods and find those same games. And it's really just not the case, which is why, in 2025, it's Memorial Day weekend, so game hunting season is fully underway, right? People probably already have their weekend yard sale routine down. People already have their, the stores that they're going to hit here and there. A lot of heavy duty collectors, a lot of the diehard retro game collectors are already in full swing, working their normal circuits, going their usual routes, hitting up their contacts, hitting up their Facebook listings, going to their flea markets. They're already in full swing. And for me, my approach to it at this point is play the hand that you're dealt. Play the hand that you're dealt and play it based on where you're at financially, how much you can afford to put into the hobby, and, what you're prioritizing in terms of your collection. Over the past week, because there isn't a lot of physical stuff near me, I've really had to leverage virtual pickups, and not eBay or Mercari, but as many of you know, GameStop. Thanks to them, they've actually been saving my spring, and it looks like they might save my summer as well. But I'm just playing the hand that I'm dealt for right now. Earlier in the year, I was able to leverage trades. I was able to work with local resellers. I was able to get some heavy hitting games that way. In the beginning of this month, I was able to leverage trades with mom and pop shops. That's how I was able to get some of the heaviest hitters that I've gotten so far this month. But at this point, as we get, towards the end of May, it's now Memorial Day, we're going full swing into the summer, things are going to get tighter and tighter because guess what? Now everyone's out of school. College students are off away, they're back home, so now you're competing with college students. High school students and junior high school students, they're out of school, so now you're competing with them. Anyone who gets the summers off through their employer, now you're competing with them. And you're just competing with everyone who gets an additional amount of time, free time, during the summer months, and just the competition increases. And depending on where you're at, it increases at an unfair level. And that's where I'm at. So I kind of have to play the hand that I'm dealt. And I also have to strike while the iron is hot. And that's the main reason why this week you saw me pick up some of the games that I've picked up this week. Luckily, some of them I was able to find in store. Some of them I was able to snag online. But I really just have to utilize all the resources at my disposal to try to get the best deals on the best games that I can find. Because I think it's going to get more and more difficult to secure harder to find games, more of the rarer titles. Now, the other day I talked about how Xbox is expanding their retro catalog with their online service. We already know what Nintendo is doing when it comes to expanding their Nintendo Switch online service with GameCube. And Sony is continuing to do their own version of that. But none of these things boost my confidence when it comes to preserving video games. I feel like physical is still the ultimate way to preserve games for as long as possible. These things will break and break down over time as well, but I feel like they'll last a lot longer than their digital counterparts, which makes hunting these things seem very impossible these days. And it just feels very unfair when you look at just the disparity depending on where you're at in the country. But I'm interested to know what's happening near you. What does hunting look like in your neck of the woods? Do you have to go to mom and pop shops? Are you doing thrift stores, flea markets, yard sales, pawn stores? Or are you just like me, a GameStop bandit? Let me know, and I'll catch you in the next video. It's the Y2K Collector. Take it easy.